All right, it's 6:02. I want to call to order the Raleigh Human Relations Commission's meeting on Thursday, January 13th, 2022. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year, you all.
So let's do a roll call.
Sure thing. All right, Commissioner Thompson,
Here.
Commissioner Bertha Al-Chakar. Not present. I imagine she's coming later, so I'll just keep an eye out for that. Commissioner Carlson.
Here.
All right. Commissioner Hill Melvin.
Present.
Wonderful. Happy to have you here. Commissioner Laws.
Here.
Happy to see you, Byron. Commissioner Mello.
Present.
Hello. Commissioner Averett.
Here.
Hello. Commissioner Padilla. I don't think we have Padilla, but I will keep an eye out. Commissioner Dixon.
Here.
Hello. Thank you for your email. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Commissioner Khan.
Yes, here.
Hello. Commissioner Rabbi Solomon.
Here, present.
Hello. Commissioner Longest.
Here.
Hello. And we have a new commissioner here, Judy Tardif, who is going to be a new alternate.
I'm here.
Hello. Will you
Hi,
pronounce your
Judy.
last name for us, please? I just want to make sure I get it correctly.
You did it correctly. It's Tardif.
Tardif. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I'm Gabriela Magallanes, secretary, so I'll be introducing you each month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, everyone. Let's look at the agenda. You've had an opportunity to see the agenda. Any changes needed to the agenda? Hearing none. I move that we accept the agenda as written.
I second the motion.
Any, all in favor?
Hi.
I,
Okay. No, any opposed? Thank you. Looking at the minutes of December 9th, 2021's meeting, any adjustments or factual changes that need to be corrected in those minutes?
I do want to make mention, since Bertha is not with us right now, she did send an email to everyone. So her understanding of the voting was that we voted to edit the resolution, but not to support it with edits. So I haven't viewed the footage of our last meeting, but Travis, I don't know how long it takes for that footage to get uploaded, but is it possible that I could review that footage just to make sure I do capture that that voting was correct? I just want to make sure that there's no discrepancy.
Yeah, absolutely. I can work with you and make sure that you have access to that link. That way you can review it. I really need to speak with communications just to verify, but I don't think that there would be any challenge with it. So let me double check on that and I'll get back with you.
Okay. Mary, that is the only potential edit that there would be, was just, I just want to double check that I did capture that voting that we did correctly.
Yeah, if I proposed the vote, it was to accept to support the resolution with edits.
And that is
but we will,
what I remember.
we will go back and make sure that that's exactly what was said. I appreciate that.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
So because we have that discrepancy or that challenge, do we accept these minutes? Travis, I need guidance.
So that's a great point. What I would say is that until we get clarification, let's hold on that. And then if we need to conduct a separate vote on the approval of the official minutes, and then we'll go from there. So we'll wait till Gabriella is able to review, and then I'll also review as well around that question. And then what we can do is we'll propose a vote after that.
Well, why don't we just move to table the minutes?
Correct.
Approval of the minutes.
Yeah,
So moved.
okay.
Second.
All in favor to table the minutes for December 9th, 2021, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We have a,
Yes, so I was going to mention that, Ms. Mary, in this portion of the meeting for the staff liaison. So Maisha Williams has joined us. Maisha is the new training and development manager for the Department of Equity and Inclusion. So as our team grows, there is interest in what boards and commissions are doing. Folks are, interested in learning all aspects of what the department's doing, and Maisha is just sitting in to learn about what the HRC is up to. So we welcome Maisha, and she is a fellow DEI staff member. So
okay, welcome, Maisha. I just wanted to make sure I saw this name. All right, so we'll go to Chairman's report. I'll make mine brief. Happy New Year. Welcome to Judy. Judy, you want to say a few words to introduce yourself to the commission?
Sure, I'll be glad to. I'm retired. I retired in 2013. I was a school secretary at Lacey Elementary, and then I went to the legislature and worked for Senator Tony Rand. And then when he left the legislature, I went with him and worked at the Parole Commission as his confidential secretary and retired from there. So I've worked for the state for 25 years.
Okay,
And I'm really excited about being part of this commission.
well, welcome. We're excited to have you. Okay, thank you for sharing. Just in my report, Monday is MLK Day. I attended the community engagement on the recommendations of city council terms and compensation. I did the virtual meeting they had. I've been working on, and we'll talk about later, so I won't mention it too much, on National Day of Racial Healing, which is going to be on the 18th, the day after MLK Day. And we have a new director of equity inclusion, and I'm sure that will be part of Travis's report, so I'm not going to take that, talk too much about that. So we have a balance in our budget at this time of $14,568, and we will move to Travis for equity inclusion staff report. If anybody has any questions, excuse me, if anybody has any questions of me before we move forward. Okay, Travis.
thank you, Madam Chair. So I'll try to be brief with my remarks as well. So first and foremost, I want to echo what everyone else said and just welcome Judy to the commission. I know that that has been stated a few times already, but just wanted to welcome Judy. It is on my radar for Judy and Tim both to have an orientation sometime in the immediate future regarding boards and commissions and just kind of the expectations and what comes with the territory, so to say. So that is to come. Another update, I know that earlier in the year, I had spoken with Commissioner Dixon regarding stormwater and sustainability, and he had the opportunity to connect with them. I sent out a message earlier today to the folks that Commissioner Dixon was able to meet with from the city of Raleigh, like I said, specifically from stormwater and sustainability, to see if there was an opportunity for them to come and speak with the commission. I'm aiming for a March date. I wanted to give them a little bit of time to prepare for that presentation. So I will get back with you all, but I did want to let you know that for the Public Safety Committee, that follow-up item was in play. So I had reached out to Jean Troy regarding getting the state commission in for some training, and I realized that Jean Troy actually had the wrong email address for me. I've reached out and I haven't heard anything back, but I do want to update you all and let you know that I am working on securing those trainings specifically around hate crimes. I know that that was one that we had expressed particular interest in having open to all boards and commissions. So please know that I'm still working diligently on that. And ARPA update. So we're finalizing the American Rescue Plan Act grant process right now. We're aiming to, I believe, start the contract period in February. So there'll be a February to January period, but it has been more complicated in detail just because of the nature of the funding stream and being that it's federal funds. There, are additional stipulations and things that we have to kind of comb through. But we're looking like we're going to be able to proceed with that relatively soon. I was able to speak briefly with Commissioner Alcacar or earlier today about Mayor's Unity Day. And the reason that I bring that up is the closest thing I have to a public comment is, I believe it was Mayor Pro Tem Stort's representative or liaison had reached out and had questions as to whether or not there was still going to be a Unity Day. And I reassured her that, that this commission is considering COVID-19 protocols and the current climate with the pandemic, but as it stands that you all are still having conversations about holding a Unity Day. So I did want to bring that to the commission's attention, but again, I'm sure that will come up later in the meeting, so I don't want to talk too much about that. Just a reminder, this is also later on in the agenda. Miss Mary will be leading Social Equity Book Club next Thursday, focused on The Sum of Us. I did want to stress that there are still copies here in the building at the Department of Equity and Inclusion at 900 South Wilmington Street. So if you know someone who needs a copy, granted, we know we're getting close and it's only about a week, but there certainly are copies here. And then last but not least, as Ms. Mary said, I was actually able to meet our new executive director for the first time today. So granted, it was on Zoom because she's transferring out of state, but Dr. Artina Hamilton was able to meet with our department staff today. And while it was brief, we were able to hear some of her vision and her excitement about working with the department. So again, her first start day is the 31st of this month. So I would anticipate that she'll likely attend either the February or March meeting. I know how it is getting acclimated to a new role. So I would anticipate that you all will have the opportunity to meet her within the next month or so. So please keep that in mind. But short of that, those are the most pressing and immediate updates I have, and I yield my time back to you, Madam Chair.
Does anybody have any questions for Travis for the Equity Inclusion Staff Report? Anything that we needed to go on?
Travis, one question I didn't catch was, who did you speak with about the Mayor's Unity Day?
Yeah, so it was Mayor Pro Tem Stort's liaison. She had reached out and asked if we were still going to have a Unity Day, if the commission had still intended on doing so, just because she hadn't heard anything yet. And I was just reiterated the fact that with the pandemic and whatnot, that exercising caution that you all were still having conversations about what that would look like, what the venue would be, being considerate of the climate with the pandemic. And she was very understanding and excited to hear that. So just knowing that I think the proposed timeline that you all have mentioned is April. So, just putting that on everyone's radar that folks are asking about Unity Day. But short of that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you very much. Anything else? Anybody else have any other questions? Okay, do we have any public comment today, Travis?
No, ma'am, no public comment at this time.
Okay, so let's move to committee committee reports. I want to make note that I put some times trying to put some times around our discussion. We're running very well. So let's talk about the committee reports. We'll start with Grants Committee.
All right. So since our last meeting in December, the Grants Committee did not meet in person. Zubaida and we spoke via phone yesterday, and I sent out an email late last night with some updates. That felt like meeting via Zoom wasn't necessary, but everything's written down. So for the committee, right now, agencies can submit grants. The grant application opened in December and it will close on January 21st. After the grant deadline ends on January 21st, the week of January 24th through January 28th, the Equity and Inclusion Office, including Travis and Miss Mary, will be going through the applications to ensure that all the necessary documents are there. That following Monday, hopefully by January 31st, those that are on the grants committee will get an email notifying everyone of who was assigned which agency. And then February 1st, we're thinking if we could, that would be the first time the grants committee actually meets via Zoom, and we can ask any questions if we need to. February 2nd through 11th, that's when individuals on the grants committee will be reviewing the applications and grading them using the scoring matrix. We will have interviews on 4 different dates via Zoom, February 14th through the 25th. We will do deliberations February 28th through March 4th, and then March 10th, hopefully we as the grants committee will be able to present a recommendation to the HRC, and as the whole commission, we will be able to vote on that recommendation, and then hopefully it will be presented to City Council on April 5th. So that is where we are with that. One note, Travis, I don't know if you want me to mention this about what is different about this grant cycle is that in the past, okay, so I took a direct quote from the City of Raleigh email that I received. So what is different about this grant cycle is that per the directive from the Raleigh City Council, if an agency is asking for more than $25,000, they do not have to present an audit. So hopefully that makes evaluating these applications a little bit faster. Hopefully it's less paperwork, but that will be one difference for this year. That is all I have. Zubaida, did you want to add anything?
You're on mute, hon. You're on mute.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Just wanted to ask, clarify real quickly. You said that anyone who is applying for more than $25,000 will not be asked. You really mean less than 25,000, right?
No, so I can clarify this. So the council wanted to make sure, and per my understanding, let me give that caveat. Per my understanding, the council wanted to be aware of barriers that might be in place during this time of the pandemic and COVID-19. So for that reason, the decision was made that if an agency is requesting more than 25,000, while historically we do ask for, an audit, that requirement has been waived for the FY23 cycle. Now, there is a caveat that I will share, and it is online, and you can refer to the grants page because it has the specifics there. If an agency otherwise requires an audit based on the direction of their board or their executive leadership already audits, or they have a history of auditing with our organization, it is asked that they still provide an audit if possible. However, if the audit is a barrier for an organization that historically has not provided an audit, then they would not be disqualified if they asked for more than 25,000 and they weren't able to provide such an audit. So I just like to give that context, but Gabrielle is absolutely right. If they exceed $25,000 and they don't historically provide an audit and they don't have the capacity to provide one, that will not disqualify them for FY23 human service grants.
Thank you.
Travis, thank you for that. I appreciate you adding that bit of information in.
No worries.
So right now we're planning for our next meeting to be February 1st, 6 o'clock. We can change that if we need to. That's all I have.
Any questions of the grants committee? So February 1st.
Correct.
Okay. Next, we'll go to Community Relations and Celebration Committee.
Hey everyone, sorry we were a little bit late. I had troubles connecting. Welcome all the new members. I hope you get to enjoy this ride with us. It's always fun to serve the community. Tati sends a note to everybody to say sorry she cannot make it. It's her birthday, and her kids surprised her with a birthday party. So she's gonna choose the party. But welcome everybody, and my name is Berta for the new members, and I am the co-chair and the chair of the celebrations committee. So before Christmas, there was a lot of unknowns with COVID and all that stuff. There was a lot of unknowns, but some things kind of came in place. Just recently, we've been working together with Travis, with Tori, and a few other people in our committee, Eric and Tati and Crystal. Thank you, Crystal, for all your help too. We came up with, if you all don't mind, keeping April 9th as the Mayor's Unity Day, that we had to find out when the mayor was available. There was a couple of dates that went back and forth. And it would be from sometime in the afternoon. We haven't decided exactly what time yet, but what it would look like as of now, what it looks like, and it's shaping up to be a nice event. As you know, historically, for those of you who are new to the to HRC, our main event is that the only thing we are requested to do is a Mayor's Unity Day. We have to do it by our bylaws and according to the plans that we've done. So that's probably our biggest expense and our biggest event that we do. So, and what it used to be, sometimes we would highlight, let's say for example, Vietnamese or, African-American or Brazilian. And so this time, rather than doing that, because it was a unity breakfast and it was something and a banquet, we used to do both. And now it's just, we're lumping everything in so that we can't do any indoor events. So we're just, what we kind of put together and kind of investigated, putting an event on into in Moore Square, where it's out in the open. April 9th, we have a stage, sound, and we thought about maybe inviting some of the probably grant recipients to have some tents there and kind of talk a little bit to the people about what they do and hand out brochures. And, for us, we would have a tent and we would have our brochures. So at some point, we're going to need to order that tablecloth and with the logo on it. And so Tori and I spoke a little bit today because they had been kind of thinking about putting on an event by themselves, where like storytelling and things like that. So I think we talked today and we thought it would be a nice time to put a nice content to add to this particular event. So if it's going to last 4, 5, 6 hours, it'd be good to have something on stage and have something of that sort there, a little bit of storytelling, a little bit of performances. We don't have to schedule all that. And we're, open to suggestions. So if you all have somebody you would like to, a group that might be good to perform, please, by all means, send it to us. So right now, these are just the what, when, and where. We haven't decided on everything yet. Travis and I are going to work together with the city to go ahead and see what the parameters of this event would be, whether we need to do road closures, whether we need to do, cleaning stuff. So anyway, but we would need you all, if you don't mind, just keeping that date available. And I know, Eric, we totally understand you can't do it, but I know you'll be with us in spirit. So if you all don't mind, just keep that in mind. So some of the things that kind of floated around, and one other item that we used to do before is an award, the Mayor's Unity Award. And I can't remember the name of it, but Travis is looking it up, and we have to open a link for people to be, nominate people and nominate organizations. And Travis, feel free to jump in if you found out what it was.
So I was not able to find out the specific name of that award just yet. I will tell you I was very busy today, so it's still on my to-do list to look through historic files and see if I can find the award that's historically given during Mayor's Unity Day, but I'll look into that still. Yeah,
and so we used to give away a couple of awards during that event. Of course, the mayor was there, and some of the city council would be there. So there are some things that are falling into place for that particular event. We'll talk a little bit more and give you all a lot. I mean, there's just so much, so much of, variables with this event, but some of the things, for example, Eric had mentioned reaching out to Activate Good to probably collect some, some goods for, for different organization. For example, Crystal, we thought maybe about doing the book bag, having people bring book bag, or the food bank, having people bring some cans, cans of food or whatever. So all of that will be ironed out. We have time for all that. I just kind of didn't want to take up a lot of time tonight for this particular event for Mayor's Unity Day. The other, do you guys have a question about that? Or because there's another portion, not to this, but a different thing. So I just want to make sure I pause if you all have questions about this particular event.
I have one question. You mentioned doing, maybe I heard you incorrectly. You talked about doing like voting.
No, it's voting, like a link to vote for awards, like somebody voting for, a person who, just to give them the award of the mayor. I can't remember the name of it. And I can find it because Chris can tell us what it was. But it's a award it's a mayor's award basically for doing good. So we'll have to open a link at some point. Mayor, do you remember it? Yeah.
The awards were given at the banquet, not
Right.
at the Mayor's Unity Day.
Right, but we're not doing the banquet because we can't have indoor activities.
I'm just making a comment of where the awards were given. And it was 3 different awards. One was to an individual, one was to a youth, and one was to an organization. And it was highlighting the work, lifting up the work that they have been doing in the community.
Oh, wow.
That's very helpful. Yes. So
And
that's the plan for now. And we'll get all these nice details out to you all, unless you want to, you have questions for now, because there's another small piece that we need to discuss, and I don't want to take up a lot of your time. Do you guys have any questions? All right. So the other portion of this that we wanted to do as far as community celebration, so we were all at Hope Center and we all were touched by what we've done and what we saw there. Richard and some of the people were together. We really wanted to do something long-term. We did not want to do just a one-time event. So Richard and I had talked about, and I reached out to them to give us some dates, but Richard and I had already agreed to maybe one time buy him, there was only like 25 kids. So we can, every Tuesday they get together and they teach them something, like something about careers or whatever. So we can actually attend just to kind of be supportive and actually provide some food. We talked about, he and I pitching in to buy them pizza one day and some dessert. And I already have 4 different sponsors for 4 months in a row. But if you all know somebody, in worst case scenario, we can get some of the money from HRC to subsidize the other one. It's not going to be much. $100 would feed them all probably. And so, between, me and 4 other sponsors, and if we can keep going, I'm sure we can provide one time a month food for these kids, just to kind of sit and visit with them. And I'll give you all this information once the dates are concrete. Yeah, Tim, were you asking a question?
No, I wasn't raising my hand, but I do
sorry.
think it's a great idea. So thanks for doing that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. But anyway, so all of that will be, we'll give you a lot more details that way. It's not just a general idea.
Anyone have? Okay.
So, sorry, and when we talk to Tori, and Tori, feel free to jump in. It would be great to add their idea for the storytelling. I think I said that already, on stage. So
we had a good conversation about it, and we, as I told you, we just need to talk about it internally in the diversity committee. But I think it's a legitimate suggestion.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Any
it.
other questions or comments? All right, let's go to the Diversity Relations Committee.
Sorry, I might have, we're gonna come up with a budget. I forgot about that. We're gonna come up with a budget once I talk to Travis, because we're gonna need probably most of the 14,000 to put this event on. That's an important piece of information I forgot.
Thank you. Yeah, we did meet in December, so we met last at the end of November. And we meet on the fourth Wednesday of each month at 7 o'clock. For the last, I guess, 5 or 6 months, we've been preoccupied with planning the National Racial Healing Day, which will be, we've been talking, there's been a lot of emails about what we have planned for Tuesday from 6:30 to 7:30. And I believe Mary has sent around an agenda showing what the program is laid out for that day. And so, of course, a lot of our attention right now is devoted to that. We also have the storytelling event set for May the 28th. And what we envisioned with that was having some type of open mic that would allow different, well, really just individuals to come up and talk and share their stories. And some of the groups that we had considered working with are the BIPOC Project and the NCAAT and the LGBT Center of Raleigh. But we're still sort of in the brainstorming mode with that. And so, you know, we can discuss more ideas about planning that going forward.
Tori, that sounds amazing. Thank you for organizing that. One question I had was, May 28th, Saturday, where are y'all thinking about hosting this? Like inside, somewhere outside, in a city space? What are y'all thinking?
Yeah, that's a very good question. We sort of thought, you know, we don't know where COVID is going to be, but at that time, and we don't know what the weather is going to be either, but we're thinking it might be better weather going on as well. So it's probably going to be better to do it outside, and Moore Square is the place we suggested that we were looking into. Okay. Perhaps the afternoon of that Saturday, which I believe is a holiday as well. So we need to, that's something else that we need to think about, whether that's good or bad. I don't know, but like I said, we're still sort of planning it out. And so that's why we can welcome listening to you know, the idea that Verita suggested, but we can talk about it at the next meeting.
Yeah, okay, Tori, I just wanted to make sure that was what you and I were talking about today, right? That was combining these two, yes? Is that correct? That's the May 2020. Yeah.
I thought that's a legitimate suggestion that we should definitely consider and look into at the next meeting.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, Tori, you're back on with the Public Safety Committee.
Yes, Mary. The Public Safety Committee meets on the third Thursday at 7. Our next meeting is on January the 20th. And some of the things that we've been talking about is trying to encourage attendance among our committee members, but also throughout the whole commission to the Police Advisory Board meetings. Those meetings are on the fourth Wednesday of each month at 7 o'clock. With the next one being on January the 26th at 7. And as Travis talked about earlier, we've also been coordinating with Travis, who's really been doing the work in scheduling event with the Office of Sustainability, speaking at one of our upcoming meetings, and with Police Chief Estella Patterson as well, visiting and speaking at one of our meetings. Also, at our last meeting, we talked about starting a conversation with the Acorns program, which I don't know, Gabriella may be able to tell you more about that, but that's a project of the city that provides resources to those individuals who are facing a crisis situation. And also we've been looking at different ways to publicize the link at www.wakegov.com to get the booster vaccination. We're looking at spaces where we can publicize that.
Anybody have any questions for the Public Safety Committee? All right, hearing none, thank you. Communications Committee, we'll move right along.
Thank you, Chairperson. Just a quick update. As a committee of one, what I've been up to since our last meeting. I've been meeting with Mary, Travis, and Tori and Byron, planning out the National Day of Racial Healing, which has come along very nicely since we last met. We've got a very impressive panel of community leaders. We've got someone to host the event, so to speak. We got Micaiah Thurman from WRAL. We put together a flyer, and which many of you have seen, and we've distributed it out. I sent it to a number of press contacts yesterday, and got some very good response. My ask of this commission is to send it out into your networks on your social channels. I know there's that Zoom link we sent out, but I'm going to in the chat put the WRL link. That's a clean link you can send everybody and put on your social media platform. So as of yesterday, I believe Travis told me we had about 120 people registered. I'm a go big or go home type of guy, so I want it so big that Travis has to submit a Zoom upgrade to the city. So, but seriously, this is really metamorphosizing into a signature event for organization. And when we get back to some normal times, perhaps we can have this live, in a forum. And but anyway, it's come along very nicely. And I really want to shout out to Mary and her leadership, and even through the holidays and everything. I've seen emails flying around from 5 o'clock in the morning at 9 o'clock at night. So thank you all. And then, this is kind of my first event to wrap the communications committee around. So I kind of like this cadence. So I'm looking forward to the next events, the Mayor Unity Day, and kind of do the same wash, rinse, repeat as far as promoting to the community. I know Travis has said there's been some changes within the city, so hopefully work with them, be able to fold in with some of their processes to further promote it. So that's all I got. Thank you.
I just want to also say, Richard, you've done a wonderful job with a committee of one.
Thank you.
Just putting it out there and making sure that this is as much as it can be. As you know, when we first talked about this back at retreat, it was going to be in the community centers, and we were going to have these conversations. And of course, COVID is still with us. But I think just the flexibility of everybody, just, okay, so what do we do next? And the flexibility of the changes of why we're planning, and things have just changed on the fly. So, but with a lot of flexibility, we'll have this event, and it's going to be nice. It's going to be nice. So thank you. I just wanted to make sure I get a good shout out for that. So whoever is doing the next event, and those of you that are new to the commission, that if you have an interest in communications, Richard knows what he's doing. I mean, it's pretty easy just to follow and learn if you have some interest in that. Anybody else either, not just the new folks, anybody else that might have an interest in knowing about communications or how those back of the envelope things, back office things work, you have a great mentor in Richard. So any other questions? So next is the Bylaws Committee. Did you have a chance to meet?
I didn't meet. I don't know who's on the committee, but I didn't meet. And I did send out an email wondering where the bylaws are. So if somebody could let me know where the latest the current bylaws are, so I can get started.
Okay.
Yeah, Keith, I can work on getting you the link to that. I know that our office has done some arranging with the SharePoint drive that historically that's lived in. Let me see about working on that. At the very least, I can get you a copy individually, but it'll be productive for everyone to have access to that link. So let me work on that. I should have something to you about the beginning of next week.
All right, thanks. Is somebody else on the committee? Jim? Okay, good.
Jim's on the committee with you.
Okay, good.
Mhm. Tim's
Yeah.
raising his hand here in chat. Also.
Yeah, I was just saying, Keith, I'd be happy to join your committee if you'd like some help on the bylaws.
All right, thanks.
Okay.
So Mary, I'm just looking at the document, what was this, a PDF that I sent out with the email reminder for today's meeting. I have Keith and Jim, but I need to add Tim to it. Is that correct? Yes.
If Tim is joining, yes. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
We'll add you, Tim. Thank you. The last is the special committee, Black History Education Committee. I've been working on the Racial Healing Day. The only thing, Travis and I did have a short conversation around the street naming project. And when National Day of Racial Healing after next week, that'll be kind of the next. So next month, I'll probably have something to talk to about that. But right now I don't have anything. Any questions anybody have about committee reports? Thank you all. And thank you all for submitting a summary to our secretary. I know she appreciates it, so that she can give us a more robust minutes. It's very nice to just have a few words to grow on when you're in the meeting and trying to take minutes. Been there, done that, so appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. And if we could keep doing that each month, it would be very helpful. All right, let's go to old business. The first thing on is the Raleigh, the resolution that a small committee, and I didn't, in the emails going back and forth, I did not include everybody. I'm sorry, I was trying to remember off the top of my head and didn't reference back in the past email. But when we met the last time, there was a small committee that was going off to make edits to the document. And I've seen Keith sent a document and Tim has sent a document. And so updates.
Well, I sent out something, I don't know, maybe a week ago. I hadn't heard anything back from anybody. Looks like Tim sent something out today, which I haven't had a chance to look at. So I don't know what those edits are. So I don't know what the state of this is. If anybody else has any edits, I don't know. Haven't heard.
All right, so Tim, you made the suggestion to.
Yeah, so since my edits came a good bit later than Keith, I was going to suggest that we have a meeting of some type to discuss it as a committee before just, hashing all of the business of editing the resolution as a full commission. So I would, I guess, propose that we have, the commission can of course do what it wants, but I would say it might be prudent to just have like a Zoom meeting between now and the next commission to talk about proposed edits. I do agree with all of Keith's edits, of course.
That was what we were supposed to do before this meeting. We had a whole month to work on this.
Yeah, but Keith, I think the problem was we were working through the holidays. I mean, we all had, our own thing, which we weren't even supposed to meet in December. And I think I believe Jim or Tim, one of you guys suggested maybe we can look at what Durham did, what kind of edits they had, and meeting about around that. Sorry, Travis, did you want to say something before me?
No, all I was going to add, and I'll yield my time to you briefly. All I was going to add is that considering the motion to table the minutes from December, it might be beneficial to extend this into next month, that review period. But again, that'll give Gabriella and I ample time to review. But nonetheless, it's at the commission's discretion.
And so I think we were gonna all get together then, and I think we were rushing it because we thought maybe January 18th was a crucial day for them to appear in front of City Council, I believe. So that's why I think, Tim, I do agree with you. We all need to sit down, make time to really go through it. And it has some good things in it that we can build on and, work with that. So I'm all for that, and I'm all with Travis to just kind of tabling it buy us another 30 days to look at it.
I do not want this to drag on. I understand it was the holidays and you guys couldn't get together. I asked Travis to set up a meeting within the next week to start the discussion, because I have a feeling it's going to need 2 meetings. So I'm going to make sure that we get together and have this discussion. So let's get the calendars. Travis, send something out so everybody can give their time, and let's just set something up. Because
Really?
we're about to go into grants season, and everybody's going to be busy with the grants and reading the grants. I just don't want this dragging. So let's try to, I'm fine with bringing it back, but I really want some action that you're meeting and we're having the discussion. I think that's fair. If not, please let me know. Keith?
The resolution itself, besides from the whereases, isn't even a page long. I mean, we shouldn't have to spend 2 months trying to edit it, as far as I'm concerned. Even if it is Christmas.
Well, it's not about just editing it individually. We have to come to conclude, this is a representation of what we as a committee, as a Human Relations Committee are coming up with. So we can't just individually edit it. We have to come together and agree on all the points and say, this is what we think is fair. This is what we think is right. So you're right. It doesn't take, one person doesn't have to take forever, but it would be nice if all of us agreed on something on this thing.
I don't know if all of us are going to agree on this. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Well, maybe not, but at least we try, right?
But I do want the fact that, I appreciate the work that Keith and Tim has done, and I've read both of them. I'm fine with what Tim kind of just went a little bit further than Keith, and I understand the team that was put together have not read this, so I won't push the fact of making us move forward on it right now, but I really want this done.
Yeah, but I don't know why we're rushing if they're not even on the agenda on City Council.
It's not about them being on the agenda. Sorry, I didn't mean to. It's about our schedule and what we have planned as a commission and the work that we have going forward.
That's fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I get that. I also asked for information that I haven't received yet. So it's hard for me to work on it and give it some time if I don't get the information that I asked for, which is very reasonable for us to ask. So that would be another factor before we have the meeting.
Anybody else have any comments?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think we should have, I think part of the problem is we were kind of headless. No one has really in control. But And I also couldn't remember who all was on the committee. So when I was
No,
trying to get former Mayor Schul on board to meet with us, but he's definitely still on board to talk with us about the process over there in Durham, and give us any comments and ideas, that we can certainly listen to. So I don't know if it would be more useful for him to maybe join us for a few minutes at the beginning of this first meeting coming up. So obviously I'd want to get in touch with him as quickly as possible when we know that date, to give him time. Although he's primarily just busy with his grandson right now. So, or the second meeting where we're further along in the process. I personally think it'd be better to have him up front.
I do too. So why don't, when Travis sends out after this meeting, gets everyone's that's on that committee's time and picks a date and time, let Jim know, and Jim, you can go off and get him to come, hopefully for the first 15, 20 minutes, and give his input. I just want this done. I mean, I just, we have to keep moving. We have a whole bunch of things coming in the background. I don't want this to get lost. It's too important. And I'm just making us move. We're gonna go get it done. All right?
I have two questions real quick.
Sure.
Is there a certain date that you would like to see this resolution kind of done with, so that we all know what the expectation is? That's the first question. Second, for those that are on this reparative justice resolution committee, how many meetings do you anticipate you all needing in order to come to a good conclusion?
One.
Okay.
Possibly two.
Okay.
Because I don't see, like Keith said, that it's only 5 words. I mean, it's not a big
Well,
thing.
it's actually more than that, because in it, there's a place where they're requesting that we go to city council, to the governor's office, and request things from him. So there are some things that are important for us to really look at. It's not just 5 sentences. And I don't know if you all have promised this group something, because I don't know why we're rushing it, but it feels very rushed. And for something that important, I am having a hard time with. So I don't know why. Did you all promise them a certain date?
It's not about
January 18th.
Again, Berta, it's not about them. It's about this commission and what we have to do this year. And that our year ends in June, and we have a list of things to do. The grants committee work is very labor intensive.
I know, Mary, but this was never on our work plan. This was thrown at us as, look at this and see if, if you guys can back it up, kind of thing. This was not part of our work plan.
This part of our mission or our responsibilities is when city council asked us to look at something, that is part of what we do. So no,
we're looking at it. We are looking at it, but we don't need to rush it for any deadline, is all I'm saying.
I would like, and I'm going to ask the rest of the commission that we would want to move this to the point that we move on to the next thing.
That's fine. That's fair enough. I'm just wondering why it's rushed.
Does anybody else have any comments?
I will say we have been talking about this for several months now, so it's not like this is all of a sudden. I think this is, Miss Mary, I agree with you that I do want to be done with this, because grants is very big. Racial Healing Initiative is part of one of our focus areas, and I do want to be respectful to our city council members and mayors when they do ask us to look at something, to respond quickly. Berta, I totally hear you. If there's information that you've requested that you haven't gotten, if I would just maybe be curious to see if that could be a priority that's made to try to get that information. And Jim, thank you for reaching out to the former mayor. That sounds like that could be really helpful. So best of luck to everyone that's on that committee. Thank y'all all so much for that work.
Any other comments? Okay, so we have, so everyone that's on that committee will receive an email from Travis as we move forward.
Just as a recap, Madam Chair, on that committee, I know that there is Keith, there's Jim, there's Tim. I wanted to see, is there anyone else who I'm missing? I know Berta and
Richard.
Richard.
Okay.
Yeah, I missed Richard in my list, but yeah.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah.
All right, so
Really fast, if you could just send an email out to all of us, like maybe like right now, just so we all know.
Yeah.
All right.
So I know this, when we finished our retreat, I had said, that, the committees should get together and just come back with what they feel they're going to use in the year. And probably when we do it for next year, we'll be a little bit closer to the beginning of our year to actually hammer this out. But we are where we are. So I have created a proposed budget. My thinking in doing this was looking at some of the things that we have done in the future, hearing some of the plans that people have for the rest of the year, and giving the responsibility of the dollars to committees so that the committee has an idea or framework of what they're working on for their project. So this is a proposal. It's to start a conversation. So I will comments on the proposal.
Real quick, Judy, do you have a copy of the budget, of the proposed budget?
It was in the
Did I send that in the email?
yeah, that it was all, I'm sorry.
No,
It was
it's
part of
fine.
it was part of the email that you received with the meeting minutes and I think we sent the meeting minutes, the agenda, the
I'll
committee.
look at my email real quick and make
Yeah.
sure that I sent that to Judy.
Okay, so since nobody's saying anything, I'll go ahead and jump in. So historically, we've never had like a budget for each committee. And I get what Mary's trying to do, maybe give a little bit of leeway for each committee to work with. But historically, the only money that was spent was on Mayor's Breakfast, which we usually found sponsors, and the banquet. And that's what we really need to be spending the money on, unless last year and the year before obviously was different because of COVID and the programming, we had to kind of just use up the money we had because we couldn't do anything. And so we used it up for the book bag drive. And for those of you who are new, we used it up for the book bag drive. We used it up for, the PPEs and all that good stuff. So, and some of the free food stuff. And so this year, we're hopefully holding this event that will combine the Mayor's Breakfast and the banquet. And that's what having an event that big will probably use up most of the money. That's why when I saw the proposed budget, which gave $4,000 to the diversity committee, I was kind of surprised that I know it's proposed, but we need to give everyone a context of what we're trying to do. The biggest event that this committee holds, and we have to do it, is the Mayor's Unity Day. Whether we feed people, that's what we have to do. And we have to combine our effort rather than work in parallel. We have to work together to put this money to use between now and June, the end of the fiscal year. So this was the event that we talked about. That's why I reached out to Tori, because I wasn't sure what their plans were. And it looks like it would be a very good complementary event together. And we don't need to do two different events with $4,000 that's proposed by Mary and the $5,000 for the diverse celebration committee. That's kind of to give you all the context. And so I'm saying, looking at all the factors with the tents and doing all the big event and the Mayor's Unity Day is probably going to take most of the budget, the $14,000 budget.
I want to add that in the past, we have used money for the Grants Committee, because when the Grants Committee met in person, we paid for lunch and breakfast. When we had the event for the police advisory, we were asked by the city council to put on roundtables discussions in each of the community centers. And we paid for papers for, that to put those events on. When we met with the immigrant community, we had an event that we had the leaders of different organizations that support our immigrant residents in the city of Raleigh. That also was money that we spent for food. It wasn't a lot. We have done t-shirts for each of the shirts. It wasn't t-shirts, it was polo shirts. For each of the commissioners, we have name tags that we still should do name tags.
Mary, I agree. There was others. I agree with that. There was a bunch of little stuff that we did. Yes, that's correct. We do need a little bit of money for the little things. I'm talking about the big budget with the 4,000 that I mentioned to you in our executive committee, the 4,000 and the 5,000 that we need to give the new members. And Keith also knows a little bit more about this, but the bulk of the budget goes to these events is all I'm saying. You're right. There's like tablecloths and supplies and food stuff, but that doesn't amount to a huge chunk.
Right, but we have committees now. We have committee chairs. And so if committee chairs work together for an event, that's fine, and combine the money, I have no problems with that. But we do need to establish dollars that are for each committee. That's my feeling. Other comments? How is everybody feeling? No, yes?
I'll hop in here. I know the last time we did the Mayor's Unity Day breakfast or event, it was I think I was a newer commissioner at the time, and it was one of the first times that that event had looked different. We had made some changes. We had to pivot because of COVID. That's just the world we're in right now, and that's going to continue to happen. I don't necessarily have a problem. I understand exactly what Mary is trying to do with the different pots of money for each committee. And I also get the logic of if it's something where Tori, or if it's something even Bertha says, this is what I'm looking at for this event. Is it possible where each committee can give this amount of money to this event? Great. If not, what can I do on my end to meet that missing amount of money to still make this event happen? I don't have an issue with the mayor, us doing the Mayor's Unity Day event, but I do feel as though we are moving in a direction of more community impact. If we decide that we could be more impactful in each of these different committees in other ways than putting on a event that just, I don't want to say just highlights certain things that's happening, then that's what I'm in favor of. So if it's something where one of the other committees says, hey, we're going to do this event here and we're going to touch this amount of people, and this is how we're going to do that, and this is the impact of this event, whether it's book bags, t-shirts, umbrellas, I'm with wherever the need is at, more so than us giving out of awards that we can't even name right now. Recognition is important, but I don't think that we can't do all of the things that we're trying to do, even if we have to scale back certain things that we have traditionally made our flagship events. I don't want to take up too much space and time. Hopefully we can come up with some type of resolution to all of this, because I do like some of the direction that we're moving in with the projects we're doing. I like the energy that everybody's putting in on the committees. So hopefully we could just figure this out and, really come to a good, healthy resolution here. I'm gonna yield my time to Travis because I see his hand. And yeah, that's all for now.
Thank
Much
you.
appreciated, Byron, and well said. What I would add is, and as a liaison, I'm kind of that intermediary between different positions, and then looking at like what your bylaws state, and I want to make sure that I'm clear on just a few things. So the first one is, in terms of the Community Relations and Celebrations Committee, it does mention in the bylaws specifically certain events that Berta references, and I want to make sure that I'm clear on that. With that said, when I think of Mayor's Unity Day, and even some of what Berta described as potential opportunities for your Mayor's Unity Day for this year coming up, with having different organizations table at the event and things of that nature, it seems like the Unity Day is the intersection between all of the committees, right? It's this idea of there's a public safety component, there's a grants component, because there's an opportunity for grant agencies to share what they're doing. There's a diversity relations component, because the focus of diversity relations is building that community dialogue. So I say all that to say that I think that there's a medium between these two approaches, right? In that there's the ability for, as Mary sharing, different committees to have that agency and to have say-so regarding how funds are spent, but there's the opportunity for Mayor's Unity Day to be the intersection for these different committees. So I think what I'm trying to say, without, in a much more direct way, is these are two sides of the same coin potentially, right? I think that it's not an either or, but it can be a both and, in that you could still, kind of divide, funding in that way, but still concentrate your funding towards one more consolidated effort. So again, that's just a suggestion in reference to your bylaws, looking at your bylaws and what they say, and I yield my time for more conversation amongst all of you.
I guess just procedurally, my question more is like, is this something that we would need to include in our bylaws, that like each committee is getting a certain amount of money, and but then the committees can agree to share that money? Do you think that's?
I don't know. That's a good question. My thought was, this is to, I guess, have everybody have some sort of, the committees having some sort of ownership, and the ability to work together, right? That they now have contributed to this, to something else, like Byron was saying, if this is what we're doing, and my committee is now contributing, then my committee is working on this, and it gets us out of this only a few people doing. That I'm just trying to get us more, I'm seeing it, but we've been so before in these little, couple of people thing, and I'm just trying to get more activity. So this was
I see your point, Mary. I'm just thinking, by us dividing it up like that, I think we're like Byron and Tori were working under, okay, this is what we're doing. It's almost we're working parallel instead of working together. We have to work together. It's never been about 3 people here, 4 people here doing their thing, 5 people doing their own thing over here. It's always been historic. In the years that I've been on, as much as you and probably not as much as Keith, we all work together. The only committee that really kind of in the dark was the grants committee, because it was just so intense. So I feel like you have a point in, like, you have that budget. If you want it, let's, call it out and say, we're thinking $1,000 needs to go towards such and such. That's great. Then we know, okay, we can't use, I don't know, we can't pay the band or whatever, the performer, but $50 instead of, $100. So there's got to be a way where, okay, what do you think you're going to need for the rest of the year? But we can't take a huge chunk, 4,000 out of the 14,000 and give us the biggest event that we have, $5,000 to put on at the Mayor's Unity Day. So that's my point, in that, like, okay, we can do that, but we should really work together, not separate units. And I believe you know, many people feel that way. I'm just saying, I think
So many people feel that we should,
we need to work together more than.
I'm not, I am saying that 100%.
Well,
not
but
what I'm
but
saying.
the way it was presented, I'm just telling you that how I'm reading it on my side. It was presented that you guys get $4,000, go do your thing. You guys go down, get $5,000, go do your thing. You guys get $1,000, go do your thing. Kind of how it reads. Instead of saying, okay, these are the events, or these are the things that we'd love to do this year. And these are the budgets that go towards it. This is the important. And if we have the money, we can get the book bags. If we don't, kind of like we did last year, right? Last year, we were like, okay, great. We still have $14,000. Let's do something with it. So I think by Byron and Tori have a great, they have so much energy. They have a lot going on that we're in the dark as to what they're doing until we come to this meeting. We need to be updated as to what they're doing, what their plans are. And up until yesterday, when I talked to Tori, or this morning when I talked to Tori, I had no idea that we can, you know, kind of come together and work together on this particular, on their project and our project, and it could, you know, complement each other. So all I'm saying is just, we need to work together as opposed to just individually, they're doing their thing, and we don't know about it until now. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, one, I want to say the storytelling has been on the minutes for the last few months. So that's not something new. In this call, I said that if there's an event that somebody's putting on and the committee gives some of their budget to that event, that's fine. But it's the committee working underneath it's them deciding that we're going to work on this event. And then also the money to me is different than us working together. We're working together. It's the committee says, we're going to do this storytelling. We're going to do Mayor's Unity Day. We need this much money to pull it off. Do we want to do this? Meaning that other committees would have to, if it's over that committee's allowed amount, they would have to contribute. I just don't see what the
Because I think, Mary, it's a pot of money for everyone. It's not for, and we as a committee should vote on it, not just say we're adding a complicated step for something that doesn't need to be there.
Well,
to go to Byron and say, hey, I'm going to need $3,000 out of you. It's not me. It's not for me. It's for our project, which is the one part we should all, it's a big lump of money, and we all as a group decide where it goes. And it's never been committee decided in all the minutes that I've attended, all the meetings that I've attended. We've had committees before, and we've never had to divvy up this money. I think it's only $14,000. We all adults, and we can figure out how to do whatever we need to do. Even Richard and I talked about we would have liked some of that money to go towards the Hope Center, but we said, well, let's not impose on our budget for the Mayor's Unity Day or whatever it is. So I already found 4 sponsors, and we personally are going to put our own money to feed these kids. So I don't think we're imposing on the budget. It should be a whole committee decision, a Human Relations Commission decision, not a committee member decision. And I don't know how you divided up the money or came up with these amounts, really.
Byron?
Yeah, all I want to say, I mean, unfortunately, we're not going to come to a resolution tonight in this meeting. And I don't know if it's something where we need to come up with a separate meeting to figure this out. Or if there's something where Travis and you all have an executive board meeting with the chairs. I'm not too sure what happens from here. I just know that with the time we have left, we're not going to come to an agreement, which is okay. But I do think it's important that we do establish some time and space to talk this out thoroughly and see what that looks like moving forward. as well as what are we going to do moving forward when it comes to the fact that we are talking about the bylaws committee, because at some point I'm sure there has to be something put in our bylaws what we decide to do here budget wise moving forward when it comes to different events, whether as a commission we all agree to move forward in the new direction with each of the committees getting different pockets of money. I just know we need more conversation than what we are going to have time for tonight. And it's also, I think, something where hopefully those who do have some interest in the conversation or concern are able to put their thoughts together so that there is more people contributing to this conversation.
I'd appreciate that.
So that it's not just, one side here and one side there, so that we can really figure out what part we can take from here, what part we can take from there, and really get to the bottom of this to still have an impactful event, still make sure that we're able to be most efficient and effective with the budget that we do have, as well as one of the things Berta mentioned was using their resources and the connections. That's one of the reasons we're here as well. So to continue to use the different networking opportunities and, whatever professional circles that we have access to continue to use those to uplift the work we're doing. So I know we've taken a lot of space for this conversation. I just want us to figure out, when we can, hash that out, move it forward so we can just get back to the work and be impactful.
I'll give it to you. All right, I'll table it for now. I'll send out a note and we'll have a conversation about it. But, okay. Travis?
I would just very briefly concur with everything that Byron just said. Very well said. I would say that, and I've said this in those executive team meetings, that this is something that in your retreat moving forward, I think it's going to be very important to discuss. I appreciate everyone's patience and candor as I learned through this first year of working with you all, but I do think that this is a pertinent discussion for something like your retreat moving forward, because to Byron's point, that provides a platform and opportunity for everyone to provide their input and their perspective on this. Again, I cannot reiterate enough. I see both sides of this conversation, but to Byron's point, I want to make sure that we're judicious with the time and we can hopefully, as you mentioned, Madam Chair, we can table it and return to it at a later date. All
right, Social Equity Book Club is, what is it, the 20th?
That's correct. Yep, 1 week from today.
Some of Us. Yeah, next Thursday. I'm leading that book discussion. Please join me. You don't have to have totally read the book, but it's a wonderful book.
Oh, Mary, I'm sorry, I think I should know this. What is the title, just for everybody? Would you repeat it once?
The Sum of Us by Heather McGee.
Okay, I will be sure to join you.
Thank you. Anyone have any new business? Any community events that are happening that people would like to share with the group?
I do. As you know, Monday's MLK Day, but it's also a Dignity Week, and there are a number of events in the community going on. I'll share a link with you all, and put it right there. And I'll plan to be with one of y'all, but I'm not sure. I got tested positive for COVID this week, so I haven't been cleared yet. So if I do, and I'll sign up for a link, I'll share it with you.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's more of inconvenience.
Does anybody else have anything else that they'd like to share before I adjourn the meeting?
I'll mention conflict of interest, but since we've mentioned the organization, I'm going to mention it. Friends of Oberlin Village, they are located here in Raleigh. They work towards the historic preservation of one of the oldest North Carolina Black-only communities here in Raleigh. They are hosting their first annual 5K race, June 18th. It's going to be Juneteenth weekend. I say it's could be a potential conflict of interest because my husband volunteers with them. We live in the area. So if anyone is interested of getting information, I'm happy to share that out once we get closer to that date. You are, Bertha? Okay, definitely. Okay, I'll send out an email.
All right. All right. Happy New Year again to everyone. It is 7:21 and I make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all. Have a good evening. Have a good week. And we'll please answer the emails for meetings that will be coming up in the next few weeks. Appreciate your time.